Rex Ryan foot fetish. In 2010, the New York Jets were having one of their best seasons in years under head coach Rex Ryan. But off the field, Ryan was suddenly at the center of one of the strangest scandals in NFL history. A series of foot fetish videos had surfaced online featuring a woman, identified by many as Ryan's wife, Michelle, showing off her feet while a man behind the camera, who sounded and looked like Rex, admired them. The videos were posted anonymously, but had titles like Hot Mature Sexy Feet and Toes and Soles, and internet sleuths quickly connected the dots. The resemblance, voice, and context all pointed to the Ryans. Neither Rex nor the Jets ever confirmed or denied the videos. When asked about them in a press conference, Ryan simply said, "It's a personal matter," and declined to go further. The story went viral anyway, with late-night hosts and sports radio roasting the coach non-stop. The internet dubbed it the foot fetish scandal, and it hung over the Jets as they entered the playoffs. That's when Patriots wide receiver Wes Welker added fuel to the fire. In a pre-game press conference ahead of their playoff matchup with the Jets, Welker delivered 11 foot-related puns in under 10 minutes. He talked about being on your toes, putting your best foot forward, and having great feet. The trolling was subtle, but unmistakable, and it caught the Patriots' attention. Head coach Bill Belichick, known for his strict team-first approach, benched Welker for the opening series of the playoff game. The Jets upset New England 28-21, and the story only grew in legend. Nichki Steel Tower. In August of 1960, during a routine Green Bay Packers practice, linebacker Ray Nichki found himself at the center of one of the most bizarre and terrifying accidents in NFL history. That day, it had started to drizzle at practice, and Nichki, ever the old-school tough guy, put his helmet on to keep his head dry. Moments later, a towering 5,000-pound steel camera boom, used by local media to record practices, suddenly collapsed. The massive tower broke free from its base and came crashing down, right onto Nichki. Miraculously, his helmet deflected part of the impact, likely saving his life. But the weight of the steel pinned him to the ground. Chaos erupted. Players and coaches rushed to help, fearing the worst. Somehow, Nichki escaped without life-threatening injuries, though he was badly bruised. What makes the story even more surreal is the reaction from head coach Vince Lombardi. After confirming Nichki wasn't seriously hurt, Lombardi turned to the team and barked, "All right, around the goalpost, let's go." No break, no huddle, just back to work. Bottlegate. On December 16th, 2001, the Cleveland Browns were locked in a tight game against the Jacksonville Jaguars. With under a minute left and facing a critical 4th and 2, Browns receiver Quincy Morgan appeared to catch a pass that would have kept the drive alive. The Browns quickly ran the next play, believing the game was still live. But that's when chaos erupted. Officials suddenly stopped the game and announced they were going to review the previous play, even though another snap had already been run. According to NFL rules, once a new play begins, the last one can't be reviewed. But the referees overstepped, reversed the catch, and gave the ball to Jacksonville. That's when the fans lost it. Cleveland's crowd began pelting the field with beer bottles, trash, and debris in a furious protest. The situation became so dangerous that officials declared the game over with 48 seconds still on the clock and sent both teams to the locker room. But minutes later, the NFL league office called down and demanded the teams return to the field to finish the game. After a long delay, players and officials returned to an atmosphere still filled with hostility. Security had to clear the sidelines and monitor the crowd as the final seconds ticked off. By the way, I'm going to be posting a lot here, so it would mean a lot if you subscribed and dropped a like for the algorithm. The Snowball Game. On December 23, 1995, Giants Stadium looked more like a snow fort than a football venue. A massive snowstorm had blanketed the area, and crews couldn't clear the seats in time for kickoff between the New York Giants and San Diego Chargers. So thousands of fans took matters into their own hands, literally. Throughout the game, snowballs rained down from the stands. Some were playful. Others were deadly serious. Players, coaches, referees, and even stadium staff became targets. One of the most serious incidents occurred when Chargers equipment manager Sid Brooks was struck in the head by a packed ice ball and knocked unconscious on the sideline. Officials were furious, security was overwhelmed, and referee Ron Blum eventually took to the stadium microphone with a warning. If fans didn't stop, the game would be forfeited. But the snowballs kept flying. Stadium personnel ended up arresting 14 fans and ejecting 175 more. Players later recalled dodging snowballs while trying to run plays, including a 99-yard interception return by Junior Seau that he described as snowballs all the way down. The Chargers won 27-17, but the final whistle came with more relief than celebration. Mike Curtis versus Drunk Fan. In 1971, during a Baltimore Colts home game at Memorial Stadium, fans were enjoying a typical Sunday until one overzealous spectator decided to become part of the action. Late in the game, with the Colts huddled near midfield, a visibly intoxicated fan sprinted onto the field and attempted to grab the football. He got a lot more than he bargained for. Without hesitation, linebacker Mike Curtis broke from the huddle and sprinted straight at the intruder. The moment was brief but unforgettable. Curtis delivered a crushing textbook tackle that flattened the fan instantly. No hesitation, no mercy. Security arrived seconds later, but the damage was already done. The crowd erupted in cheers. Replays of the hit became instant classics. Reporters later asked Curtis about the incident, and his response was simple. He wasn't supposed to be on the field. It was a warning to anyone thinking of storming an NFL field, the owner's swap. In one of the most bizarre front office moves in NFL history, the year was 1972, and instead of players being traded, it was the owners themselves. Baltimore Colts owner Carroll Rosenblum and Los Angeles Rams owner Robert Irsay pulled off a franchise swap. Irsay had just purchased the Rams for $19 million, but instead of sticking with the team he bought, he immediately traded it. Ownership, rosters, facilities, front offices, and all, for Rosenblum's Colts. The swap was highly unusual. Technically, every player on both teams stayed in the same city and uniform, but legally, they were now playing for different owners. The Rams became Irsay's team, and Rosenblum took over the Colts. Even the team's equipment was included in the deal. It was a complete organizational flip. This ownership switcheroo wasn't about football. It was about taxes, lawsuits, and personal preferences. Rosenblum reportedly disliked Baltimore politics and saw the Rams as a better fit. Irsay, on the other hand, wanted a team he could put his own stamp on. The two men made it happen with one of the weirdest transactions in league history. Mark Sanchez's Hot Dog. In 2009, the New York Jets were steamrolling the Oakland Raiders. Up 38-0 late in the game, rookie quarterback Mark Sanchez was having a solid day. But it wasn't his stat line that grabbed headlines, it was what he did on the sideline. Television cameras caught Sanchez, still in full uniform, casually eating a hot dog during the fourth quarter. Sitting on the bench, mustard and all, just enjoying a snack like he was in the stands. The image instantly went viral. For a city like New York, where every detail is scrutinized, the sight of the franchise's new quarterback chowing down mid-game was all anyone could talk about. Some fans loved the confidence, others thought it was unprofessional. Sanchez later apologized, saying he felt lightheaded and needed food. The Jets even turned it into a charity opportunity, donating hot dogs to food banks in his name. Michael Floyd and the Kombucha defense. In December 2016, wide receiver Michael Floyd was arrested for DUI in Scottsdale, Arizona. Just days after being released by the Arizona Cardinals, the incident threatened to derail his NFL career. But when Floyd joined the New England Patriots shortly after, he offered an unusual explanation for the failed breathalyzer test. He claimed the elevated blood alcohol content, reportedly 0.217, nearly 3 times the legal limit, was the result of drinking kombucha, a fermented tea known to contain trace amounts of alcohol. According to Floyd, he consumed several bottles without realizing it could affect a breath test. The defense didn't work in court. He was sentenced to 24 days in jail and 96 days of house arrest. The Patriots stood by him for the remainder of the season, and he even won a Super Bowl ring, though he was inactive for the playoffs. Ron Mexico. In the early 2000s, Falcons quarterback Michael Vick was one of the NFL's brightest stars, but he also harbored a bizarre secret. When seeking medical treatment for an STD, Vick reportedly used the alias Ron Mexico to conceal his identity on medical forms. The odd pseudonym might have gone unnoticed if not for legal documents that surfaced during a 2005 lawsuit. When the name Ron Mexico was revealed in court filings, it immediately caught fire online. Fans began ordering customized Mexico Falcons jerseys with the number 7, and the phrase quickly became a viral in-joke. The NFL responded by banning all personalized jersey orders, using the name Mexico, unintentionally cementing the nickname's legend. Though the alias was meant to protect Vic's privacy, it had the opposite effect, turning into one of the most infamous and bizarre side notes of his career, Joe Forier, and the dog cover-up. In 2014, Lions tight end Joe Forier claimed he sprained his ankle in one of the strangest ways imaginable, trying to stop his tiny Pomeranian puppy, Lil Rufio, from peeing in the house. He told reporters that he was rushing down the stairs, missed a step, and landed awkwardly while trying to grab the dog. The story was so bizarre it went viral. Fans couldn't believe a 6'7", 265-pound NFL player had been taken down by a toy-sized dog. But years later, in a 2018 podcast appearance, Forier finally came clean. The dog story wasn't true. According to Forier, the real injury happened while he was playing recreational volleyball with neighbors. During a play at the net, he landed wrong and instantly knew something was wrong. When I come down on just ankle, left ankle. This most amazing, shocking pain that I've ever felt in my entire life shoots up my leg, and immediately I'm like, career's over. That's how much it hurt. Forier panicked, so he made up the Lil Rufio story. It worked. Jim Marshall runs the wrong way. In 1964, Minnesota Vikings defensive end Jim Marshall etched his name into NFL folklore with one of the most bizarre plays in league history. During a game against the San Francisco 49ers, Marshall scooped up a fumble and took off down the sideline. There was just one problem. He was running the wrong way. With no one in pursuit, Marshall confidently sprinted 66 yards into the end zone, his own end zone. Believing he had scored a touchdown, he tossed the ball in celebration, only to realize moments later that he had just handed the 49ers a safety. His teammates were stunned. 49ers players went up to Marshall and thanked him, and Marshall himself was mortified. But in a twist of fate, he redeemed himself later that game by forcing another fumble that led to a Vikings touchdown. Despite the blunder, Marshall went on to have an outstanding career and never missed a game in 20 seasons. Chester Marcole's coke-fueled touchdown. In the 1980 season opener between the Green Bay Packers and the Chicago Bears, kicker Chester Marcole became the unlikely hero, but the real story behind it wouldn't come out until decades later. With the game tied late in the fourth quarter, Marcole lined up for a routine 34-yard field goal attempt, but the Bears blocked it. The ball deflected back toward him, and instead of falling on it or panicking, Marcole caught it cleanly and sprinted toward the end zone. He outran the stunned Bears special teams unit and dove in for a touchdown, one of the rarest and weirdest walk-off plays in NFL history. But in his 2011 autobiography, Marcole revealed something that shocked even die-hard fans. He was high on cocaine during the game. He admitted to using cocaine at halftime and described the moment he scored as a blur. Shannon Sharpe versus Derek Thomas's girlfriend. Trash talk is part of football, but in the 1990s, Shannon Sharpe may have taken it to a legendary level. The Hall of Fame tight end was known for his wit, sharp tongue, and ability to get under defenders' skin. But one moment against Chiefs linebacker Derek Thomas crossed into NFL folklore. During a matchup between the Broncos and the Chiefs, Sharpe allegedly began reciting Derek Thomas's girlfriend's phone number at the line of scrimmage over and over again. No insults, no cursing, just calmly and repeatedly reading out the digits. According to Sharpe, it worked. Thomas was visibly rattled and jumped off sides multiple times in frustration. The story became locker room lore. While Sharpe never confirmed the number was real or how he got it, he never denied the tactic either. Ontario Smith and the original Wizator. In 2005, Vikings running back Ontario Smith became the face of one of the strangest scandals in NFL history, one that involved synthetic urine, a fake body part, and an unforgettable product name. Smith was stopped at Minneapolis-St. Paul International Airport with a suspicious kit in his luggage. Inside, the original Wizator, a device designed to help people pass drug tests. It included a prosthetic, packets of dried urine, and a heating element to keep the sample at body temperature. When questioned, Smith told security it was for his cousin. The NFL didn't buy it. Already facing a suspension under the league's substance abuse policy, Smith's incident with the Wizator cemented his reputation. He was suspended for the entire 2005 season and never played another snap in the league. Sam Wyche's naked press conference. In 1989, Bengals head coach Sam Wyche took issue with the NFL's evolving locker room access policies, specifically the league allowing female reporters into players' changing areas. While many coaches kept their objections behind closed doors, Wyche chose spectacle. Following a preseason game, Wyche emerged for his post-game press conference wearing nothing but a towel. The stunt, captured by stunned reporters and cameras, was meant as a protest, but it ended up being remembered more for its absurdity than its message. He made no grand speech, no direct statement, just stood there fielding questions while barely clothed. The NFL fined him for the incident, and public reaction was mixed. Some found it humorous, others saw it as a petty and uncomfortable display. Wyche later claimed the protest was aimed at privacy concerns for players, but the method remains one of the oddest moments in media relations history. It didn't change the policy. If you enjoyed this, I'm going to be posting a lot here, so it would mean a lot if you subscribed. Thanks for watching.